How's it going, Diablo players? So one more thing I want to talk about, the new Sorc skill, Familiar, is pretty underwhelming as a skill itself. I would say if you put this skill on your bar, it's pretty useless. It doesn't really do a whole lot of damage. It attacks very, very slow. There's a limit of 6. The lucky hit chance isn't really all that amazing. The burning is underwhelming. So this skill as a source of damage or as taking a slot on your bar is completely useless. You don't want to use it. It's very, very underwhelming. But this skill has good support capabilities. So you know what? Most of you are going to be playing Lightning Spear or Frozen Orb. So this skill has kind of a use in multiple scenarios. So the first scenario is you're going to be playing Frozen Orb. Frozen Orb is going to spawn it basically for free, and it's going to be an extra 6 conjurations, giving you conjuration mastery, and it's also going to be a great source of applying burning for you. So that being said, there is a big bug with the familiar enchantment. I hope it's going to be fixed, but if it's not going to be fixed, I'm going to show you how to get around it. So first of all is, if you put familiar enchantment on your bar, but you haven't cast familiar yet, it will not work. Right, so now I have it on my bar, I have Hydra, Familiar Enchantment. I can cast a gazillion Hydras now, and I will not spawn a single Familiar. Because the way it works is you must have already summoned a single one for this to work. So this is never gonna work. So that being said, you basically have to put it on your bar, wait for the cooldown to, for whatever reason, to remove, and now you have to cast it once. Let's just cast it once. There's a fire familiar now, right? So this is a fire familiar now. And now we take this off our bar again. We don't need it, right? And now let's spam Hydras again. And now you will see there's like the little fire guy, right? So this is going to spawn fire familiars now because we activated it one time before. So it kind of needs to get snapshotted. So then if you want to really play the familiar enchantment here, you can actually snapshot the familiar you're going to cast. So to do this, you're gonna go to the skill tree and you gotta choose the summoned familiar. It's not gonna work with the invoked familiar, you need the summoned one. And now, let's for example say you wanna cast fire. What you're gonna do is, you're gonna cast a lightning familiar, right? Because after lightning, there comes fire. So cast lightning familiar now, you can see the icon turns to fire. Now you can remove it from your bar. And now if we're gonna spam Frozen Orb, it's just gonna spawn fire. If it spawns one at all. So see, there's just the fire one. And it's always gonna spawn fire, right? This is, so you're only gonna have fire familiars now. And this can be useful because, you know, you're basically getting +6 conjuration mastery stacks here, right? But you're only gonna spawn fire familiars. So you don't really need the Firebolt enchantment, you can use the Fire Familiars and they're gonna do a little bit of damage and they give you extra Conjuration Mastery stacks. So this is definitely preferable over a Firebolt enchant. And this is gonna stay forever, the snapshot is never gonna end. It's gonna stay until you log out and log back in, it might even stay until you log back in. Same goes actually for Unstable Currents. So if we want to go Unstable Currents, that is also going to cast Familiars. Because remember, what a familiar is a conjuration, shock, and pyromancy and frost skill. So Unstable Current says it's gonna cast a shock skill, right? So familiar counts as a shock skill. So if we go Unstable Currents and Arclish now, it's just gonna spawn fire familiars as well. So let's go. As you can see, it's just gonna spawn fire familiars because the fire familiar is now basically snapshotted forever. So this little trick basically gives you a little bit of an edge over a Firebolt enchantment. It's not a huge edge, but this is currently honestly the only use I can see of the familiar, but it also helps with your enlighten, right? So you enlighten if you want to get enlighten as fast as possible, and you just spam Frozen Orb, well, it's basically going to be up 100% of the time, because Frozen Orb is going to spawn familiars, for example, and they count as a cast for all 3 elements. So this is a little bit of a use for the familiar. This is actually the only use I see. You don't need to put this on your bar unless you maybe in the leveling stage to get some extra conjuration mastery stacks. But other than that, I don't see any use for the skill at all, other than snapshotting it into your enchantment slot to replace your Firebolt enchantment. Well, that's just a little thing I want to talk about the familiar, how weak it is in general, and this is pretty much the only use I found for it. Hope you find this video useful, and thank you so much for watching, and take care.